This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Friday, June 21st, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Alberto proved deadly as the first named storm of this hurricane season moved over Mexico. I'm Clayton Neville.
RFK Jr. denied a spot in the first debate as Trump and Biden prepare. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
Actor Donald Sutherland has died at the age of 88.
Captain Diabetes.
I'm Margie Szaroleta with a look at his career.
An Alabama man wanted in connection with homicides in Oklahoma and Alabama was apprehended Thursday in Arkansas. I'm Norman Hall.
On Wall Street, stocks open after a mixed day yesterday and the NVIDIA rally took a breather. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
The Supreme Court has upheld a tax on foreign income over a challenge backed by business and anti-regulatory interests. Hi, I'm Jwani, Washington.
All ahead on America in the Morning. In the East and around the Great Lakes, 100 million Americans are dealing with the first heat wave of 2024. In the Gulf of Mexico, the first named storm of this hurricane season was downgraded to a tropical depression and is being linked to at least 3 deaths in Mexico and storm damage in 2 states. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Rushing waters through parts of northeastern Mexico as Alberto brought heavy rain and wind. The system made landfall in Tampico, Mexico. Damage reported in Nuevo Leon and Veracruz. In Monterrey, 1 man died in a river in the midst of all the rain, up to 10 inches in parts of the region. 2 teenagers also died from electric shock after reportedly riding their bikes in the storm. While Mexico caught the brunt of Alberto, South Texas felt the impacts too. Rain tapered off there yesterday, but flooding still a threat after strong storm surge hit places like Galveston and Surfside. Some roads not passable.
You can't make it back there. It's too much water.
It's part of Surfside. You know, we were expecting it.
ABC 13 in Houston spoke with residents who were anticipating some impact, but with Alberto churning so far south in the Gulf, the amount of surge caught some attention.
Well, it kind of surprised all of us down here. I mean, it's 500 miles away. This usually doesn't happen.
Louisiana suffered flooding too, and on the South Texas beaches, the water is still a bit rough. People making their way back toward the beach, though, and telling ABC 13 they're extra cautious.
As a small-time surfer, I love it because I wish I was out there surfing in the waves right now, but I will say trying to watch little children, it's definitely a little more dangerous than it has been. We normally are able to easily enjoy the water, hang out, boogie board, and just kind of have a good time, and right now it's like, wow, it's a lot higher than I've seen in quite a while.
A watchful eye this summer as Americans hit the beaches with the first named storm of the hurricane season in the books and a busy season in the forecast. I'm Clayton Neville.
President Biden and former President Trump are spending the weekend in prep mode for Tuesday night's debate on CNN. A third-party candidate is officially out. John Stolnis has that from Washington.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the Trump and Biden camps colluded with CNN to prevent him from participating in the first debate of the 2024 presidential election.
Well, I'm flattered to know that President Biden and President Trump are frightened by the prospect of debating me. Shutting me out of that debate makes a mockery of democracy.
Kennedy was required to receive at least 15% support in 4 separate national polls and make the ballot in enough states to hypothetically qualify for 270 electoral votes. He was not able to do either. As the debate draws nearer, President Trump reportedly taking a different tact. He had been repeatedly questioning President Biden's mental competency and senility due to old age, but Trump now appears to be trying to raise expectations for the president, speaking on the All In podcast on Thursday.
I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water. He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. And he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater.
New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman tells CNN Trump is not holding mock debates, but is involved in serious policy discussions as he prepares for Tuesday night.
Trump did not help himself, in 2020 when he was constantly interrupting Biden. He knows that. He has said that to people. Trump and his folks are aware that they set the expectations too low for Biden, and Biden beat them. They're trying to avoid doing that now.
On Fox News, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich says Trump cannot repeat the performance he had in 2020.
And I just hope that Trump can stay very calm, very Reagan-like, let Biden be a fool, and just endure it and not counterattack.
President Biden is in Rehoboth Beach for the weekend for his debate prep, which reportedly will include mock debates. One of his top surrogates, Senator Chris Coons, telling MSNBC the president will attempt to contrast competing visions.
Our president, Joe Biden, who has a steady, positive, and optimistic vision for the future.
By virtue of winning a coin toss, Trump will get the last word in closing remarks at the debate. Biden chose the podium to the right of the TV screen. There will be no studio audience, and microphones will be cut when a candidate's turn to speak is over. John Stolnis, Washington.
Manhunt ends for murder suspect. Update when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back, and thanks for listening. This is America in the Morning, on where we'll see high heat today, but first, some rain showers. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
A storm and associated frontal boundary will focus through portions of the eastern Dakotas into southern Minnesota and then carry eastward into Wisconsin today and tonight. Rain from these storms could drop as much as 4 inches, with heavy activity already underway this morning. This could lead to significant travel disruptions as well as swollen rivers and streams. This boundary will remain active through the rest of the Great Lakes into the northeast, with showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. A few of the storms could be strong with gusty winds and small hail. Additional thunderstorms will fire up again along the spine of the Rockies from New Mexico northward to Montana, and there will also be some showers and thunderstorms in South Texas from lingering moisture associated with Alberto. Meanwhile, the area in between from the Central Plains into the southeast into the Mid-Atlantic will have a dry day with plenty of sunshine and a very hot afternoon. Highs will be well into the 90s with AccuWeather real field temperatures climbing past 100. There are many heat advisories in effect for these areas. The west will also be dry and quite hot with 100 in teens in parts of Arizona and Southern California. Meanwhile, AccuWeather hurricane experts are monitoring a tropical rainstorm just to the east of Florida. It is organized a little bit better over the last 24 hours and could increase in status later this morning. Some rain and thunderstorms associated with the storm could reach the north coast of Florida first thing this morning and then continue throughout the day, some of which could produce drenching rainfall. Another system following Alberto in the Bay of Campeche may develop this weekend, with additional rain from it moving into Texas. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
I'm John Trout. Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. His resume included leading roles in movies such as MASH, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and The Hunger Games, and countless roles on TV. Correspondent Margie Szaroleta reports on the death of actor Donald Sutherland at the age of 88.
Captain Hawkeye Pew.
One of Donald Sutherland's big successes was the 1970 movie MASH, even though he and co-star Elliot Gould tried to get director Robert Altman replaced because they did not like his unorthodox style.
Are you a beer drinker, sir, or would you like to share a martini with me?
Martini? I'd love a martini.
Oh, John, give the gentleman a martini. I think you will find these accommodating. They're quite dry.
Sutherland also was known for Kelly's Heroes, Animal House, JFK, Ordinary People, and The Hunger Games.
I thought this is a film that could change things, that could maybe motivate or activate or catalyze young people who have been, by and large, politely dormant.
Happy Hunger Games! And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Sutherland told reporters in 2005 about a fan who complimented him. Sort of.
She stopped in front of me and she said, you're Donald Sutherland, aren't you? You're not near as ugly as you are on the telly.
Sutherland was still working regularly until his death. His memoir, called Made Up But Still True, will come out in November. I'm Margie Szaroleta.
Multi-state manhunt ends after a triple murder suspect wanted for a killing spree in Alabama and Oklahoma and 2 carjackings was found in Arkansas and taken into custody. Norman Hall has more on the story.
Arkansas State Police say Stacy Lee Drake was taken into custody in Marlton, about 50 miles northwest of Little Rock. Drake is wanted in connection with homicides and carjackings in Oklahoma. A man and a woman were found dead inside a business near Gans, Oklahoma, near the Arkansas state line. In Alabama, Drake is accused of killing a man on May 14th in Tuscaloosa. News outlets reported that the victim, whose car was taken, was found dead inside an Alcoholics Anonymous building. I'm Norman Hall.
When we return on America in the Morning, the post-pandemic economy and reducing plastics in packaging after these messages. This is America in the Morning. The Business Report is sponsored by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments takes a disciplined approach with investing, helping clients navigate volatile markets. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. With the Friday Report, here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a volatile and mixed day yesterday for stocks. The Dow popped up 300 points, had its best day of the month. The Nasdaq snapped a 7-day winning streak. And along with the S&P 500 index, they each pulled back from record highs. For a brief moment, though, yesterday, the S&P 500 index topped 5,500 for the first time ever. Consumer spending may be easing a touch, but the National Retail Federation isn't worried that there's a collapse or anything in retail sales. It's just things are getting back to normal in the economy.
If you look at lots of indicators, whether it's debts, delinquencies, savings rates, they're all sort of reverting to the mean, which is they're kind of back to pre-pandemic numbers, which I don't think is really a surprise that we were going to eventually have an economy that moderated and slowed down a bit.
NRF President Matt Shea on CNBC. Eli Lilly is suing 6 more med spas over the sale of unapproved compound products claiming to contain the drug tirzepatide to lose weight.
In the lawsuits, it alleges that some of the med spas are falsely claiming that their compounded versions of the drug are approved by the FDA. In an open letter, Eli Lilly warns that unsafe or untested compounded products put patients at risk. It also says it stands against the use of its treatments for cosmetic weight loss. And last year, Eli Lilly took similar actions against 10 spas, wellness centers, and pharmacies.
CNBC's Joe Kernan. Red Bull considering a bid for an NBA expansion team in Las Vegas, according to Bloomberg.
Plastic awareness. Amazon takes a different approach.
Yeah, Amazon's making a big switch in the packing material it's putting inside those boxes, the items you buy.
Recycled paper is replacing the 15 billion plastic pillows used every year.
They're difficult to recycle because, first of all, you have to pop them.
You have to pop it. And they can't go in a curbside recycling bin. Paper may also just work better than plastic.
This paper is a little bit softer. It's made with 100 recycled content, and that allows the items to kind of cushion in there rather than bounce.
In addition to losing plastic, Amazon is using AI to right-size its packages by eliminating empty space in boxes. I gotta say, I'm gonna miss that satisfying pop.
CNBC's Diana Olick. On today's watch list, it's the first full day of summer trading. We get the PMIs for June. We get existing home sales numbers for May. Earnings are coming from CarMax. It's triple witching on Wall Street. Various accounts and indexes will rebalance and reweight. New in theaters, IFC's drama Ghostlight, Vertical's horror film The Exorcism, and Focus Features drama The Bike Riders.
Thank you. CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. Spoiling the sounds of nature, a remedy from New Jersey. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. The Supreme Court has ruled on a tax related to foreign income. Correspondent Haya Panjwani has details.
The Supreme Court has upheld a tax on foreign income over a challenge backed by business and anti-regulatory interests, declining their invitation to weigh in on a broader, never-enacted tax on wealth. The justices, by a vote of 7-2, left in place a provision of a 2017 tax law that is expected to generate $340 billion, mainly from foreign subsidiaries of domestic corporations that park money abroad to shield it from the U.S. taxes. The law was passed by a Republican Congress and signed by then-President Donald Trump. The case attracted outsized attention because it might have led to a decision that would have doomed a wealth tax. Hayya Panjwani, Washington.
A judge has said no to a request by Steve Bannon to delay his July 1st deadline to report to prison. The former aide to President Trump held out hope that an appeals court would keep him out of prison while he awaits a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court. Bannon claimed he was acting on advice of his lawyers and didn't willfully break the law by ignoring a congressional subpoena. Former Trump advisor Peter Navarro is currently in prison on the same charge. You're on the back deck enjoying the sound of the songbirds when suddenly it becomes a chorus of roaring gas-powered leaf blowers. Now the Garden State is joining a growing list considering a ban on those tools. Correspondent Jackie Quinn reports.
Don't you hate hearing that sound on a weekend morning? New Jersey is the latest state to consider banning gas-powered leaf blowers, but would still allow their use during peak cleanup times in the spring and in the fall. About 100 U.S. communities have tried to limit leaf blowers. Some are getting pushback from the landscaping industry and from individual homeowners who say battery-powered leaf blowers cost too much and they don't work as well. I'm Jackie Quinn.
America in the Morning for Friday, June 21st, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Production assistants Christian Matos. Our senior producer is Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
The Oakland mayor's home raided by the FBI. I'm Clayton Neville.
The crew from the ship that caused the Baltimore bridge collapse can finally go home. And more weapons heading to Ukraine.
Protecting kids on social media. I'm Bob Brown. I'll have that story coming up.
The IRS on COVID credit scams.
Donald Trump's campaign outraised President Biden's by more than $60 million last month. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Anthropic's Claude AI could become the new heavyweight contender in the AI arena. I'm tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
The Bike Riders revs its engine as it rides into theaters this weekend. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. This is America in the Morning. AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy is watching the next named storm system potentially taking shape.
Just as Alberto has completed its run as the first Atlantic system to come and go, AccuWeather hurricane experts are monitoring another tropical rainstorm just to the east of Florida. It has become a little better organized over the last 24 hours and could increase in status later this morning. Some rain and thunderstorms associated with the system will reach the north coast of Florida first thing this morning, some of which could produce drenching rainfall. Another system following Alberto in the Bay of Campeche may develop this weekend with additional rain from it into Texas. There will be some showers and thunderstorms in South Texas as well today from lingering moisture associated with Alberto, but the main concern for rainfall today will be across the northern plains. A storm and associated frontal boundary will focus through portions of the eastern Dakotas into southern Minnesota and then carry eastward into Wisconsin today and tonight. Rain from these storms could drop as much as 4 inches with heavy activity already underway this morning. This could lead to significant travel disruptions as well as swollen rivers and streams. This boundary will remain active eastward through the rest of the Great Lakes into the northeast with showers and thunderstorms mainly in the afternoon. A few of the storms could be strong with gusty winds and small hail. Additional showers and thunderstorms will fire up along the spine of the Rockies from New Mexico northward to Montana. Meanwhile, the area in between is going to be hot and humid with plenty of sunshine, while highs well into the 90s. AccuWeather real field temperatures close to 100. That's the weather across America. It'll be a cloudy day in Aberdeen, South Dakota today with heavy showers and thunderstorms and a high of 74. Medford, Oregon will be hot and dry with sunshine and a high of 96. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Rindy.
I'm John Trout, and remember you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. Federal agents raided the home of the Oakland, California mayor, who's facing a recall vote due to out-of-control crime. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao's Oakland Hills home was one of several locations raided by the FBI. ABC 7 in the Bay Area spoke with a woman staying in a house in that neighborhood.
I heard a male voice yelling to open the door, open the door. I assumed it was a domestic violence. It was maybe a man who was put out of his house. A couple hours later, looked out the window and saw multiple federal vehicles moving their vehicles into the driveway, agents gloved up, going in and out of the residence.
The FBI was seen carrying boxes out of the mayor's home, but staying tight-lipped as to the reason why they were there. The other spots raided by agents included California Waste Solutions and the homes of two of the company's execs, who also have strong ties to the Vietnamese American Business Association. The city council in Oakland reacting.
I was terribly shocked. I woke up this morning prepared to address the Juneteenth incidents at Lake Merritt yesterday. And as soon as I turned on the news, I saw what was breaking.
Councilmember Carol Fife spoke with CBS News in the Bay Area.
And so I'm having to regroup to do some investigation and make a bunch of phone calls around what's happening. But the city business still has to go on. I still have to work with our public safety teams and ensuring that we have peace and safety in the city.
California Waste Solutions has been investigated before over campaign contributions to Oakland city officials, to include Mayor Tao when she was a council member. The mayor's office hasn't commented on the raid. I'm Clayton Neville.
Death toll rises in New Mexico from two still out-of-control wildfires. The latest from correspondent Jennifer King.
What we also believe to be the case, it's not confirmed, that about 500 homes are in that list, again making this one of the most devastating fires in New Mexico's history.
Authorities in New Mexico are hoping heavy rain will help firefighting efforts. The Salt and South Fork fires in south central New Mexico have burned over 42 square miles, damaged over 1,400 structures, and forced residents from the piney mountain town of Ruidoso.
It's not confirmed. And about 500 homes are in that list.
New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham.
The reason for the update is to alert people that these are very serious fires. Traveling in and around that southeastern part of the state is not only not allowable right now with road closures, but it's discouraged even where roads are open.
A New Mexico State Police spokesman says officers discovered skeletal remains in the driver's seat of a burned vehicle. That's after a badly burned 60-year-old man was found deceased by the side of the road near the Swiss Chalet Inn.
We never got ready, set. It was go.
Ruidoso evacuees Ernie and Jackie Escajera spoke to the AP.
There's only one home standing in their whole little division that they live in. So there are a lot of structures lost. We have no idea if we're going to even have a home to go to.
The National Interagency Fire Center has logged several new fires between Gallup and Albuquerque, and one in the Apache National Forest in Arizona near the state border.
The hotshot crews, our job is to let them do what they are trained to do. They're trained to fight fires. They're trained to win that fight.
I'm Jennifer King.
Crew members from the cargo ship Dolly will be allowed to leave the country under an agreement that allows lawyers to question them as part of the investigation into the cause of the deadly collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. None of the crew members has been able to leave the U.S. since their ship lost power and crashed into one of the bridge's supporting columns on March 26th, 3 months ago. Attorneys had asked a judge to prevent the nearly 24 crew members who hailed from India and Sri Lanka from leaving Maryland so they could be deposed in the ongoing civil litigation to decide exactly who is responsible for the costs and damages and the deaths of 6 bridge workers. The ship remains at the Port of Baltimore, but will soon leave for a repair facility in Norfolk, Virginia to undergo extensive repairs. America in the Morning continues. The U.S. announced it's sending Ukraine air defense missiles, with belief that at some point after the war, Kyiv will become part of the NATO alliance. Correspondent Jackie Quinn reports those weapons will be rushed to Ukraine as Russia steps up its attacks during their summer offensive.
The president has said that he believes that NATO is in Ukraine's future. And there's a lot of things that have to be done before they can join the alliance, like any member has to do before they can join the alliance. But the president believes firmly that NATO is in Ukraine's future at some point.
With Russia targeting Ukraine's power grid, the White House says it's sending likely hundreds of Patriot interceptor missiles to Ukraine. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby says Ukraine urgently needs additional capabilities when it comes to defense missile systems.
Russia has accelerated both its missile and its drone attacks against cities and civilian infrastructure.
That means shipments promised to other allied nations will be headed to Ukraine instead, with Kirby calling it a reprioritization.
Look, my response to Mr. Putin is this. If you're so worried about becoming the victim of attacks, and you're worried about your troops' livelihoods and your military units, then get the hell out of Ukraine. You don't have any business being in there in the first place.
He notes the defense pact just announced between Russia and North Korea.
They don't have a lot of friends in the world, and they're trying to do everything they can to pull on the strings of the friends that they do have.
There are concerns about Russia trying to destroy Ukraine's energy systems before the winter arrives. I'm Jackie Quinn.
New York follows suit with concerns over cell phones in classrooms and counting the dough campaign fundraising. Those stories and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. I'm John Trout. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says the psychological effects of social media on children can no longer be ignored. Bob Brown has the latest on a plan she's signed into law.
New York State is being proactive in helping to protect kids on the dangers of social media. Governor Hochul is signing a bill into law on Thursday, which would allow parents to block children from receiving online posts specifically targeted to them. Proponents of the legislation saying more and more children are becoming addicted to content posted on social media by platforms such as TikTok and Instagram. Posts to minors under 18 would be limited, with platforms prevented from sending notifications on driven posts between midnight and 6 a.m. unless parental consent is given. The governor says she takes this personally as a parent.
I'll always press on to find a better way when it comes to protecting our kids. As New York's first mom governor, this is where you hit me. I'll take on a fight for our kids any day of the week.
The U.S. Surgeon General recently issued a warning regarding social media as a defining public health challenge of our time in an interview with ABC News. Social media companies would have 6 months to comply with the regulations. However, many companies are likely to challenge the law in court. Bob Brown, New York.
A new IRS report says the vast majority of over 1 million pandemic-era COVID credit claims shows widespread fraud. Correspondent Norman Hall reports.
The Internal Revenue Service says a review of 1 million claims for the Employee Retention Credit, representing $86 billion, shows the vast majority are at risk of being improper. The ERC was designed to help businesses retain employees during pandemic-era shutdowns, but it quickly became a magnet for fraud. Its complex eligibility rules allowed scammers to target small businesses, offering help applying for the ERC for a fee, even if they didn't qualify. The IRS says about 10 to 20% of the 1 million claims show clear signs of being erroneous, and tens of thousands of those will be denied in coming weeks. I'm Norman Hall.
The tide seems to have turned in fundraising for the president and former president, according to their campaigns. Correspondent Ben Thomas has that story.
Donald Trump's campaign outraised President Biden's by more than $60 million last month. Federal filings detail a Republican fundraising explosion sparked by Trump's felony convictions in the New York hush money case. Biden's campaign and the Democratic National Committee together raised a robust $85 million in May and reported $212 million in the bank at the end of the month. But Trump's fundraising, for 1 month at least, dwarfed Biden's. The Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee said it raised an astounding $141 million in May. That includes tens of millions donated immediately after Trump was convicted. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Shock at an Ohio amusement park where a man is hit by a roller coaster. Correspondent Haya Panjwani describes how it happened.
Authorities believe a man who apparently entered a restricted area to retrieve his keys at an Ohio theme park was critically injured when he was struck by a steel roller coaster. Kings Island theme park near Cincinnati said the 38-year-old man apparently entered the restricted area on Wednesday night. Its statement said he was found on the ground with a traumatic injury. His name and further details on his condition haven't been disclosed. Police say the man dropped his keys while riding the inverted coaster called the Banshee, and that he had entered the restricted area near the ride and was struck. I'm Haya Panjwani.
AI is advancing at breakneck speeds. There's a new company that's leaped to the front with its new updated version. With that, here's tech correspondent Chuck Palm.
Anthropic AI said it is launching a new version of Claude 3.5 called Sonnet. AI seems to be growing at breakneck speeds, and Anthropic is no exception. 3 months ago, Anthropic announced the Claude 3 family of AI models, with the top-level Claude 3 Opus, called the Rolls-Royce of models, running about twice as fast and priced for software developers at about a fifth of the cost. Keeping to the poetic theme, the smallest version made for mobile devices is called Haiku. With their middleweight Claude 3.5 Sonnet, it has outscored ChatGPT 4o, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and Meta's Llama 3. With these new benchmarks, Anthropic has become a real contender for the heavyweight match. One highly touted new feature called Artifacts organizes content that users prompt Claude to generate, whether it's an outline for a novel or a simple computer game. Claude does a pretty good job of compiling the end result and displaying it for you. Bitcoin up slightly to 65,000, Ethereum at 3,500. Tell us your thoughts at allthetoptech.tech. I'm Chuck Palm.
Friday Sports is in. Here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
Baseball returned to Birmingham last night as the Cardinals edged the Giants 6-5 at Rickwood Field, the first Major League game ever played in Alabama, at the oldest pro ballpark in the U.S., the home of the Black Barons in the Negro Leagues, with whom Willie Mays made his professional debut in 1948. Bill Greason, who was on that team with Mays and at age 99 is the oldest living former Negro League player, threw out the first pitch. Alabama native Brendan Donovan homered and drove in 3 for manager Ollie Marmol.
For him to come home, that's special. It really is. So you love seeing it. I know he came into the dugout and said, "Welcome home."
Elsewhere, the Orioles hammered the Yankees 17-5, pounding out 19 hits, including 3 home runs, and scoring in every inning except the 4th. The first 7 of those runs came off Luis Gil, who had been the ERA leader in the American League. Had been. Baltimore took 2 out of 3 in New York and is now just a half game behind the Yanks for the best record in the majors. Dodgers topped the Rockies. Shohei Ohtani led off the game with his 21st dinger. That's tops in the National League. Royals nipped the A's. All of the scoring courtesy of Dr. Longball. Freddie Fermin hit 2 for KC. Bobby Witt Jr. belted the winner in the 8th. Padres held off the Brewers, coughing up a late 3-run lead before Jake Cronenworth saved the day with a walk-off blast to right. Guardians sank the Mariners. Will Brennan with a pair of jacks. Rays got by the Twins in 10 innings. Astros rallied past the White Sox, and the Diamondbacks down the Nationals. Number 1 Tennessee and number 3 Texas A&M open the best-of-3 final at the College World Series tomorrow in Omaha, each seeking their first national championship. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight in Edmonton. The Panthers lead the Oilers 3-2. At Euro 2024, Spain beat Italy 1-0 on an own goal and secure a spot in the round of 16. The U.S. men begin group stage play in the Copa America on Sunday against Bolivia. The tournament opened last night with Lionel Messi's Argentina beating Canada 2-0. That's Friday Sports.
Thank you, Robert. Final send-off for an American hero when America in the Morning continues after these messages. This is America in the Morning. A former United States Marine died alone at a nursing home in Maine, but as correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports, after the funeral home posted a request for people to attend his burial, a send-off included a 40-mile escort and cemetery overflowing with tributes.
Former U.S. Marine Gary Brooks died alone at a nursing home in Maine, abandoned and all but forgotten. Then the funeral home posted a notice asking if anyone would serve as a pallbearer or simply attend his burial. Within minutes, it was turning away volunteers to carry his casket.
Literally hundreds of people
For us, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do these services.
Jim Roberts, commander of the VFW post in Belfast.
We're all family. All of us who've served in the military, we're all family, so you're never truly alone.
Retired Marine Linda Laurieson says,
everybody deserves to have dignity with death.
Brooks was a regular at the local soup kitchen and always ready with a joke to make the staff smile. Gary Brooks was 86.
United States Marine. Hurrah!
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
With the turning of the page from spring on the calendar, the summer movie season is officially here. Usher in a biker movie. Kevin Carr has a sneak peek at The Bike Riders.
Writer-director Jeff Nichols takes a road trip into the past with his new film, The Bike Riders.
I'm thinking of starting a riding club.
The story follows a journalist profiling the Chicago Motorcycle Club in the late 60s and early 70s. Seen through the eyes of one of the wives, the story focuses on the leader, played by Tom Hardy, and one of the members, played by Austin Butler.
I've been thinking, I can't run this club forever.
Rather than being a version of Sons of Anarchy, this film takes a more historic approach. The subject matter and the filmmaking style evokes the sense of the drive-in biker movies from its era.
What about the bar? Burn it down.
There are strong performances all around, but the story is limited by its flawed subject matter. Tom Hardy's character is the most nuanced and interesting, but Austin Butler does little more than smolder at the camera and look cool.
Hey, you can't have those colors on in here.
You'd have to kill me to get this jacket off.
You won't sit down.
Even Jodie Comer struggles as the unreliable narrator. For as much agency as she's given in the film, her role exists solely to support the male leads.
I never felt so out of place in all my life. That's when I saw him for the first time.
I'm Benny.
I have to admit, he took my breath away.
It's an interesting movie, but much more of a historical character study than a modern outlaw western. The Bike Riders gets 3 carburetors out of 5. I'm Kevin Carr, and that's the way I see it.
America in the Morning for Friday, June 21st, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Production assistants Christian Matos. Our senior producer is Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.